Greetings, traveler. Have you ever had the experience of wanting to try an activity, finish your work, complete your schoolwork, but it's somehow hard? You know it's going to be difficult, and rather than doing it, it's much easier to quit. I certainly have had this feeling for most of my life, but today I want to share with you how playing video games helped me understand this situation and navigate it in an extremely easy way, completely changing my life forever. I want to talk about how I experienced this, how games help me realize this feeling I get when I'm up against a very, very difficult task, and specifically how they help me understand it and navigate it as if it's the easiest thing in the world. My name is Xanthos. I've been working in the games industry for over 13 years now, and I've been playing video games ever since I can remember, basically. But the typical narrative in society is that games are fun to play, everybody loves to waste time in them, schoolwork is more important, our jobs are more important, but nobody wants to do those. We want to play video games. Well, it just so happened that I discovered this feeling of difficulty and that I wanted to quit when I was playing a video game. Specifically, I was playing Total War Warhammer, which is a fairly complex game, and I got this feeling that the next battle I was about to play was very, very difficult. And I wanted to stop playing the game and go and do something else, watch some YouTube or go eat something or whatever. And I did that many, many, many times until the realization hit me that, wait a minute, this is not work. I'm not doing it to get paid. I'm not supposed to play this game. I'm playing it because I want to. This is my enjoyment, my entertainment time. Why am I getting this feeling like the next battle is so difficult that I feel this emotional wall in front of me? And even though it's so easy to click the button and start the battle, I would much rather do something else. And then I was thinking about that and I thought, why am I having this feeling blocking me from playing the game that I like and I enjoy playing? Well, the more I dove into this, the more I realized that the next battle I was about to play was not particularly difficult, but it did require a certain degree of thinking before I acted. So it needed some preparation on my end to decide what strategy I'm going to use, how to place my units in battle, and so on. The specifics of the game are really not important for this because I already knew how to do these things. I didn't have to reinvent anything. I didn't have to change the way I play. I just had to make a simple plan about how I would tackle this next battle. And when I realized that, I also realized that I had all the knowledge necessary to come up with that plan. Again, I didn't have to learn anything new. I already had all the knowledge. So why was I instead choosing to give into this feeling of this wall in front of me that I felt that I couldn't get over? And I thought that it's easier to stop playing the game that I enjoy so much and go do something else that I don't enjoy as much. Well, I tried to test it and see if my theory of preparation was correct. I spent, I don't know, just a few seconds thinking about how the battle would go and how my strategy should be to face the coming battle. And mind you, this is before starting the actual battle, just visualizing it in my head and thinking about how it would go. This very, very few second exercise, we're talking about this thing took like 9 seconds to think about. So really it was no effort whatsoever. So that short exercise gave me an idea of how I would tackle this task that was in front of me. So I would just think about this in my mind and think about how I would position my units and what abilities I would use and all that. And having that plan in my mind completely made this wall feeling dissolve. So I talk about this feeling because it's very strong, it's very logical, it's just a feeling, right? But it feels like a brick wall that you just can't go through. You have to break it or do something like that. But I didn't feel that pressure at all after I came up with a plan of how to tackle it. So at this point I thought, well, of course, now that I found a solution, this task is no longer daunting, this battle seems easy, of course I don't feel this difficult feeling anymore. So I kept playing the game and I kept using this technique whenever I had this feeling of this very difficult upcoming battle, and I felt that, if I set up a good enough strategy, then this feeling goes away. But the interesting part here is not the strategy itself, is how I came up with the strategy. The knowledge was already in my mind, and I didn't have to learn anything new to do it. I just had to ask the question, what is difficult about this task? So I have this feeling telling me that, oh man, this is so difficult, feels like a brick wall, I'd rather go and do something else. But what about it makes it so difficult? That question completely changed my life, because first I started applying it to Warhammer battles, and then I would look specifically at the units of the enemy army and their composition and their particular elements. And then once I understood that, I felt that coming up with a solution was obvious. It took no brain power whatsoever. In fact, answering the question, what's so difficult about this, also took no brain power whatsoever, because it was very obvious. That emotional difficulty feeling came to me immediately upon looking at the enemy army. I didn't have to analyze it and measure all the values and find out if this is a hard battle or not. Immediately upon looking at it with my existing experience of the game, I would know that, oh man, this is going to be a tough battle, I don't know what to do. So asking myself that question, what is difficult about this, immediately revealed the thing that I guess subconsciously was feeling that I wasn't adequately prepared for. So as soon as I identified that, it was very easy to find a solution for that, and of course play the battle, win the battle, move on to the next part of the game, enjoy the game. That worked so well that it has completely changed the way I play that game, and now I'm having way much more fun with it than I used to before, and I was already having fun with it before. So now I'm having a blast whenever I'm playing it. But more importantly, I started applying this technique to everything else I do. Whenever I get this feeling, that wall feeling, whether it's a workout exercise or a chore I have to do or anything else in life, basically, now I know that when I get that feeling of that wall of, I'm supposed to do this, but I don't want to do it, asking that specific question, what is difficult about it? What is complicated? Why don't I want to do it? And just answering that question in my mind. And of course, the answer is always obvious, since if your subconscious can immediately put up the wall and say, no, this is hard, you know why it's hard. It knows why this is difficult. Otherwise, you wouldn't get that feeling and you would just continue on with the task. But if your subconscious feels the need to put up that wall there, it's like a little, biological circuit ringing bell warning thing that says, if you're going to go into this thing as you are right now, probably you're going to face some difficulty, probably due to your past experiences with this. So think this through and you'll figure out the answer. And the answer is already something because you've experienced life before. So there's not that many new things about it, especially for our daily tasks. There's no new discovery necessary. You can just use your existing knowledge. So whenever I ask myself, what is difficult about something that my mind perceives as hard, and I put a name to it, and I understand it completely, then the answer becomes immediately obvious. It is immediate, it takes no time to think about it. The trap that I was falling into when I was coming up to this feeling before is saying that, it's hard right now. If I come back later to this with a clear mind, the answer is going to be super obvious to me. And yes, this can happen, but it can also happen 9 months later. I would like to solve these situations now, not 9 months later or whenever my mind decides to be in a different mood. And having that amazingly effective tool of just asking what is difficult about this, what's stopping me, what's complicated here, and not thinking hard about it at all. There's no analysis necessary, no research necessary. Just saying out the first thing that comes to my mind about this. So in the case of Warhammer, it was that I didn't have a strategy for tackling the most difficult units in the enemy army, even though I had already all the tools in my disposal to deal with it. I just had to figure out the strategy. The same way I could tackle things like doing something at the post and, talking to a client and coming up with a new game feature for my games and dealing with game balance and all that stuff. All these things that I historically had the wall feeling about, once I asked what is difficult about it, what is stopping me from doing it, and putting a name to the problem, always made for me ever since then come up with the solution automatically. So this has been such an eye-opening thing for me. And whenever I think that earlier in my life, I would say things like, I want to learn this instrument, but it's hard. I should stop doing it. I wanna work out more, but working out is hard, so I should do something else. Or I want to make this awesome game, but I don't know how to balance it, so let's quit it. Now I'm free from all of that. And it's amazing that all this inspiration and this problem solving technique, I suppose, came from a game, because I think games are just a supercharged way of us humans collecting experience. I think that's the role they play in human culture. We get to experience a situation that we will face very regularly in our lives, but in a safe environment, in the environment of the game, with basically zero risk, and we can get most of the lesson out of it. That's why games are so powerful for human culture. So realizing that I could just break down this wall, or more like completely sidestep it and continue as if it wasn't even there, just by asking what's difficult about this, what's stopping me, why do I feel this feeling about this, had such a profound effect that I wanted to share it with at least one other traveler out there. And if it makes your life even 0.1% better, that's really all I want from this. I will be super happy. Anyway, I hope you found this interesting. If you have a similar technique for dealing with these feelings and how to turn all these emotional blocks we experience every day into something more logical and more chuckable, please feel free to share it. I will be very happy to read about it. Anyway, thank you for your time, and as always, have fun.